Cursed by the old gods in Bethany, we are 5 immortals doomed to roam the galaxy until we complete our 1,001 tasks. After centuries of having our memories sticked around, we're ready to complete our destiny and die. We are, for now, the Immortals. This is episode 87.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
87's a good number.
Is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, 8 and 7 are right next to each other.
3.
Is it? You're right, which is weird, because it feels like it
yeah.
feels like it should be prime.
It does.
But it isn't prime. That's kind of fun. I like that.
That's all we got.
Henge fact.
Oh, yes.
You have one?
Kind of. I was looking at Game of Thrones stuff, and there's a place in Game of Thrones called Stonehenge. I got very, very excited, and then I realized it wasn't Stonehenge, but it is clearly meant to be a reference to Stonehenge because it's Stonehenge.
Well, one of his prequel short stories is The Hedge Knight.
That is true.
That's true.
I've read it.
There you go.
I read something.
So I guess that's more of a hedge fact than a henge fact.
So we're still like for a while for Henge facts.
You're good.
It's alright.
But Sarah, welcome this week. You were very brave distracting the killer AI that we're hiding from right now.
I'm really brave. That's true.
Yeah.
That's me in a nutshell.
As previously on the Immortals, we are all currently hiding in these pods in our spaceship that Pedro built as we travel to the old gods. And I forget exactly how, but the AI now wants to definitely murder me.
Oh yeah,
and in turn,
she
like
really
everyone
hates
else.
you. Like she really doesn't like you. You were kind of mean to her.
You were mean to her.
Like you didn't treat her like a person.
She is a person.
Well,
she isn't a person.
She's a robot.
Yeah, but I can kill her.
I mean, she's like
she's
a non-human person. Eventually, I'm going to release an episode of Adam Sordom that explains all of this.
No, we'll get to that in the end of the show. Until then, I'm going to be ignorant towards AI emotions.
Sure.
Anywho, I'm Austin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
And together we are the Immortals. This is the show we do to break our curse. We reviewed the 1,001 movies, albums, food, songs, children's books, and TV shows that you must consume before you die. And, yeah, it's just what we do. Even when we're hiding in a, self-made spaceship in pods, we still find time to just watch some stuff.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
You gotta do it.
You just gotsta.
You guys just were weird and just picked a number last time, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of an appropriate one, it turned out, movie-wise anyway.
Yeah.
Isolated in this
Yep.
spaceship.
That's true.
Yep.
Pedro has really big glasses.
I do.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't have any money, though.
Oh, we know.
I have Steve McQueen's rugged good looks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we took that away from you. Pretty well.
But who has a butterfly tattoo?
True.
What are we talking about, Austin?
I mean, like, I don't know anymore.
Wow.
I
Okay.
think we're talking about the film we watched.
Yeah, that seems right.
Well, these two picked the number 557 to review, and that means we're going to review the following things this week, because the 557th entry in all those books are the following. The film, if you haven't guessed yet, is Papillion.
Sure.
The album is Hounds of Love by Kate Bush.
The food is Foie Gras de Canard, but I'm stuck in this pod, so I can't get it. Expect it soon.
The song is Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks.
Oh, yeah.
The children's book is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang by Ian Fleming.
More like Shitty Shitty Bang Bang, am I right?
We love you.
No.
And the TV show is the UK version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But first, let's go right to the foreshadowing that we're doing with Papillion.
After 5 years as an international bestseller, it comes to the screen. Unquestionably, the greatest adventure of escape ever filmed. Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, Papillion.
Papillion is a film from the 1970s starring Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman, which is based off a best-selling novel of a man who was...
Not a novel, an autobiography.
Yep.
I did not do enough research about what's actually true.
You know, I mean, like, it's definitely, like, one of those, like, autobiographies written before, like, people check on this shit, but, like, dude, like, it's, like, pretty true.
It's close enough. The
Yeah.
best the worst I got from whatever reading is that may have not happened to him, but it was happening around him.
Right.
Well, and the reason I'm doubtful is because it's quite an incredible story. Steve McQueen plays this man who's nicknamed Papillion. He is accused of killing a pimp. He is taken to a prison island, and what basically we watch then for 2.5 hours is endurance to get the hell out of there. He has to kind of deal with trying to bribe his way out, trying to deal with horrible isolation, trying to deal with the elements. And, it's a really interesting film. It's it's weird for it to be an adventure film, because, I mean, it has those elements of the beautiful locale, the great heroics, and yet it's also like a man just being beaten down over the years.
Right.
So, this was my second time watching it. Pedro, you go first, because I felt this was the most likely to be your kind of film, because this is such a dad film, and you tend to like dad films.
I do like dad films.
This is such a dad film.
This is a dad film, and so I liked it.
Yeah.
It's great. I didn't know anything about French Guiana and their history, or anything at all, which is kind of sad because I am French. So this was interesting. Just like the last film I think we did was interesting.
Oh yeah, next week it's a film called Fuck the French.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll also be interesting. But no, it was great. You have two iconic actors. Dustin Hoffman was ridiculously young.
It's
so
great.
good.
Oh, man.
And good.
He's great in everything.
Yeah, Steve McQueen. Everyone loves Steve McQueen because he's Steve McQueen. And what made it interesting was they were powerless most of the time. In other prison films, you see, they eventually will be beaten by the system until they win at the end. But they have long stretches and swaths of generic power, which these guys don't really have. Not for a long time at all, at least. It lasts, a week. Or seems like a week. And then, boom, gone. No, you're just a slave to the system. And it was kind of rough following along. It's like, all right, when's he going to make it? I was watching it with my girlfriend. She's like, well, so he died, right? He's dead. I'm like, there's an hour, half hour left of the film. I'm pretty sure he escaped. She's like, no, he's dead. How can he? No, he's dead.
He's definitely dead, yeah.
And then, 15 minutes later, okay, maybe not.
I mean, at this point, I think we're going to be okay with being filled with spoilers as reviews, since we said it's a biography novel. So that means he had to have written it.
Also, when on the Amazon thing, it says, until he successfully escapes.
Yeah. He successfully escapes at the end. Yay!
Ooh.
I mean, this literally isn't a movie.
Maybe.
If he doesn't escape.
Right.
And that's... It's such an interesting element, because, Steve McQueen is, one of those, great, awesome heroes. We saw him in the Tower Inferno, which was a bit after this.
Same
he's
sort of thing. He's a little bit of a dick, though.
Oh.
In his contract, he had to be
he's always
top billed and
Yeah.
made a lot of money off of this, so...
I mean, the Great Escape, Bullet, the Thomas Crown Affair, the guy has always been, the kind of, rougher, George Clooney, cool actor kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good description, I feel like.
And there were parts of the movie where I thought he really kind of was, it was less sexy. The isolation sequence I thought was so powerful because...
Sequences.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, solitary confinement is really bad, guys.
Oh, I saw Rectify.
We shouldn't do it to people. Yeah.
As we're all trapped in a pod.
I mean, I'm just saying, we shouldn't
We chose to
do it to people.
sort of.
It's not a good thing.
So, Lee, I heard you comment about how much you like Dustin Hoffman. What did you think of the whole film?
Okay, I am not the type of person who is going to gender a movie. I think that's a really silly idea.
But
this is such a dude
I was
movie.
about to say the same thing.
I can only see so many movies about prisoners escaping from prison. I've seen Great Escape. I've seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I don't need to see any more at this point. I get the gist.
Now, Lee, wait a second. There was a girl at the very beginning who did not speak and there were plenty of mute naked women. I think this is a pretty equal gendered film.
No.
Oh.
But that aside, that was an interesting story. It's not necessarily something I'm ever going to be interested in watching again. And I honestly don't know many people that I would recommend this movie to because it is such a specific type of movie.
My dad.
Yeah, other than people who are who really, really like prisoner of war type of movies, I don't know that many people are going to enjoy this experience. I wouldn't say it was enjoyable. I'm glad I experienced it, but it wasn't enjoyable.
Adam, did you find the movie enjoyable?
Well, this is my second time seeing it, and I remember before not having much of a reaction to it, but I really, really liked it this time. And I think it's because I maybe have more of a feeling of what isolation is a little bit. I'm not saying I've gone through anything like what Papillion has, but
Wait, you were in another dimension for a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being alone is something that I've done, and so that it really kind of touched home for me, and I think that part especially right in the middle when he's in solitary for so long. I think that it's about 20-25 minutes of the movie, and it's so riveting, and kind of that's the point where you say okay, this is his punishment. He's not going to try to escape again, so that he doesn't have to do this. Excuse me. But that's he does want to continue to try to escape, and I think that's a really good metaphor for what they were saying about rehabilitation not working, or that this place wasn't really about prisoner rehabilitation. It was just
they straight up said it's not.
Well, especially solitary, they say this is not about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I guess just imprisonment is not maybe the best way to deal with people.
So even though I'm not a giant fan of this movie, what I like about the movie is that you really feel the days. This isn't just a story that takes place over a year. You see these characters aging, and you see what the turmoil every day brings to them. Because when in the middle of the movie, Dustin Hoffman says, "Hey, they would contact some lawyers to relook at your case. They think they can get you out." He goes, "Oh my god, that's great. How long will it be? 3 years. Fuck that. That's another 1,000 days. I'm not going to do this."
Right.
There's no benefit for me to wait like that, and that to me was a real strength of the film. Sarah, what did you think about their whole experience?
So I also I was like, this is the dudiest dude movie that was ever a dude movie, and I really wasn't looking forward to it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I agree that you really get a sense of how excruciating just being in the prison is, and just why you'd want to escape. Prison systems are set up so that escaping is a raw deal, right? And so always in prison escape movies, there has to be some conceit about why you're supposed to root for these guys, even though they're doing something stupid. And usually it's that they're innocent, or they've got somebody they need to get to, and those things take backseat, I think, here to just this is shitty and unfair. That this is a terrible place that they send people forever. They just lock them up for the rest of their lives with no opportunity for release, no review, no nothing. So far away from France. So far away from where they were found guilty. They're in what is to them just wilderness. And they're not really doing anything. They're just sort of there. And it's, and they sort of create their own little community, but it's not, the movie's not about that either. It's about it's about not wanting to stay there.
Well, even though that community aspect is so small, I mean, we reviewed Rectify, a show I adore,
Mm-hmm.
and arguably there's a stronger sense of community between the three people on death row who could talk to the vents, and there are
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
They're still pretty isolated and pretty keeping their distance.
And yet, I mean, the thing that makes this movie worth watching, and the reason that, like, I would recommend this movie is, like, Dustin Hoffman is fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, he's just so good.
What do you describe character?
So he plays, I don't remember the character's name. It's just Dustin Hoffman. Dega, who's this guy. He comes in with a bunch of money stuck up his butt. And so, like, basically he comes to the prison with cash. And so the friendship with Papillion starts because Papillion gives him protection, basically. And Degas, like, plays it right? He works his way up through sort of the prison labor system. He sort of makes friends with the establishment, but is subversive sort of only to the degree that won't get him in trouble. And at various times he relies on Papillion not to get him in trouble, including when he's sending him like extra rations in solitary, and Papillion keeps getting extra solitary for not giving his name. And I just love the scene that I love is that Degas is like, no, when Papillion asks him to escape with him, he's like, no, like this is a bad plan. Like, this is how you end up in solitary. And yet, as they're escaping, Degas is trying to like do the distraction part of the ploy and needs to get more involved. Essentially, like, realizes that if he doesn't bash a guard over the head, they're not going to escape. And there's this moment on Dustin Hoffman's face of like, well, fuck, I'm in it now. And he runs to the wall, and the other two guys who are escaping are so much more athletic than him, and he is just like struggling. And like, there's something really captivating about him. It's one of, all of Dustin Hoffman's performances are so amazing, but it's a really great one. It's a really, really great one.
I mean, he's even great at Mr. McGorry's Winter Emporium. The guy is one of the best actors alive.
Yeah, he's just fundamentally fantastic.
So I guess it came to the point that the film I don't like very much, because the things we talk about so well of the community that is built, the structure of unlivability that they're in. When he gets away and to that village, movie just goes downhill for me. Like it just like the tension, the urgency. It's still really beautiful looking. I felt the film was wandering too long, and then it came back with an incredible last 15, 20 minutes of the movie to me. What do you guys think of essentially? If Act 1 is an hour 45.
I like
what does Act 2 look like?
I like the little, like maybe 20, 30 minutes of just respite, whatever, that he had. I still felt a little anxious. I didn't know if it was a false hope or not, so I was cautiously optimistic. I was like, oh, look, a nice tribe he can do fine in. Here's a sweet person to show him around. Cool. Oh, fuck, they're all gone. Where'd they go? What's he gonna do? Oh, look, nice people. The fuck, bitch, none. It's just...
It just has
like,
the same strong structure,
no.
It felt. I don't know.
Could it? No.
Yeah.
Then no.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's not as good.
And what do you think? Yeah, let's hear it.
I think that there were so many different parts that they spent such a long time on. Like the ordeal in the solitaries was such a long time, but it was really just like one part of his journey. And then, so I think that for him to, he's escaped, and then he finally reached the rewards of his escape, essentially. And so it didn't seem too long to me. And I think there was that kind of, I think there still was that kind of dread that things were going to come back to bite him somehow. Mm-hmm. Just because that's the way things had been going for him. People are untrustworthy in his life. So.
But I'm curious, the way you describe it, would you call the film cynical?
Towards prisons, yeah. But I think
We're like life and fate. I mean, like he leaves the prison and things are still shitty.
Right.
Because I don't feel that tone. But like there is hardship always.
Yeah, and I think that section is kind of the more optimistic part of it. Is that there is life outside of prison, and he's living life like a law-abiding citizen. He's not murdering anyone. And so it's saying that even though, like, it wasn't the prison that made him like this. It's just that's just him, and the prison hasn't saved him or anything like that. He's just not in prison. And so
right.
He's a normal person, and so I think that serves to just show that side of Papillion.
Lee, what did you think of this section?
I thought that this movie could have been at least half an hour shorter.
Oh, yeah.
It dragged on for me. I agree with you. I think it really kind of drops off once they escape, more or less. And it just, the second half of the movie didn't do it for me. The first part I thought was interesting because you have these character developments and you have these really interesting dilemmas and like philosophical questions and things like that, whereas the second half of the movie I didn't really feel like you got that. It was just like, let's see what happens next.
Yeah, I actually felt that way about a lot of the movie. The sort of like, the only reason I was still watching was to see what happened next. And I mean, it's a good adventure story. Like I wanted to know what happened next. And it might be because it's an autobiography and, life doesn't have some sort of, like, beautiful overarching meaning, but I struggled to figure out what exactly... I mean, the film is definitely saying prison is bad, solitary is fucked up, but I don't know that, like, the characters don't learn a lot of lessons. There's not a lot of, like... There's not a... And, like, again, like, I'm actually not saying necessarily that it's bad. It's quite a quiet movie. It doesn't beat you over the head with any of its messages or anything it's trying to say. But sometimes it felt a little bit like it was just a descriptive adventure of like, this is what's happening to this guy, and nothing else.
Well, I want to talk about the final 20 minutes. Skip ahead if you don't know the ending that we've already alluded to directly. But I think
we said what the ending
is. Escapes. Yeah. But I really like the last 20 minutes because whereas I don't know if I could write a full term paper about the meanings of this film, there is something like undeniable about his insistence on freedom. Like it's this idea that I like have to die a free man with like no caveats. Like even when he was in that section we just talked about, it's still like it's someone else's home, it's someone else's culture. He's not back to where he was allowed to be. And so when he reunites with Dustin Hoffman at the end of the film, and at this point Dustin Hoffman has now endured his own type of isolation, whereas he can still make his home. He's not doing great mentally.
No.
And they're both older, and they're both weaker.
Yeah.
And that you feel it, especially the performances by McQueen. And just the idea of, like, McQueen says, you want to escape? And this time Dustin Hoffman says, sure. Like, he goes, like, get some cams or whatever. How? I don't know yet. And the idea sounds like suicide. And it looks like suicide. And that's the only way that Papillion could fathom living was to make that wonderful cinematic jump into catching the seventh wave on a floating device to maybe get 25 miles to France, something like that.
To the coast.
To the coast, yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
He'd still be in South America.
Yeah. Just like that, like maybe like it isn't over. He's not going to compromise. And I think that, to me, was a really powerful element going forward. So I loved that ending, I thought.
I did too. I liked it. I liked how he stuck to it. It worked.
It is.
He
And
I wrote a book about someone who did it.
I love that Dustin Hoffman had the bag to the cliff. It's like, Like, you know I'm not going to joke.
I get it.
Like, you get that, right? God. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was beautiful. Yeah. I think you said it well.
Yeah.
Is there a single person that didn't betray him that wasn't Dustin Hoffman? I think everyone at some point did something.
Yeah, the
that,
young,
like,
the young like prostitute guy does eventually, right?
No,
actually, he's okay.
he's alright.
I thought he was a really interesting character.
threatened death on him.
I thought he was
fine.
super interesting. I really liked him.
You know what was a really nuanced character? The bizarre 10-minute gator scene. That
was
gator,
great.
that gator had a heart.
I forgot that was even in that movie.
I was into that. I felt like that. I felt like that scene was a really good, like, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is not just regular prison. Like, they sent us to prison in a crazy swamp jungle. And, like, they're just gonna shoot us if we don't wrestle this gator. Like...
But it's still so rare for Hollywood films this time to clearly have no dialogue in that scene.
Yeah.
Like, they were clearly just riffing. Because there was a definite gator for some of the scenes. Definitely not the last scene. The last scene, couldn't help but notice the gator was less animated.
Hopefully.
The last moment. But I think it's time for hinges. Any final thoughts on Papillion?
Oh, I just wanted to say I was also really impressed with how the actors changed their performances as they were supposed to age. Someone mentioned that, like, they did you really felt like these guys were way older. And it's all performance. It was really cool.
All right. I think it's weird. I said so many nice things, but I'm still a bit mixed on the film's pacing, but I'll go with 3.8.
3.5.
4.3.
Well, I'm going to say 4.5.
Damn.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
There was a listener last week who noticed that it was weird that Adam had higher ratings than I did last week. So here we go again. Here we go.
Including the 5.
Well, based on the first segment, may have had a different segment.
You like films about French and people and
I guess
government stuff in different countries.
If French leaders are horrible, Adam's in. All right, now it's time for the album. Lee, what do we hear this week?
This week we listened to Kate Bush's Hounds of Love. This was her 5th album that came out in 1985. It is the album before the other one that we've reviewed, The Sensual World, which was in episode 53. So if you really like Kate Bush, check that one out too.
Okay, wait 1 second.
Sorry, I just need to cough. Alright, good for 20 minutes.
Damn.
So yeah, you can go on, Ellie. Sorry, he was trying to get it during the cue, the musical cue.
Gotcha.
But he couldn't do it.
Lack of visuals. It's all good.
And I have to say that I think I really like this album a whole lot more than the last one.
And I liked this one less.
Really?
Yes, I found this to be it's too harsh of a word, but silly at times.
Oh, I loved it.
What connected with you?
So first off, the first song on the album, Running Up That Hill, I was obsessed for a short period of my most recent teenage years with a cover version of that song done by Placebo, which if you're into any sort of alternative emo music, you've probably heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved their version of that song, so hearing that on this album made me really, really happy. And then the rest of it I just really enjoyed. It reminded me a lot of Florence and the Machine. Like, you could tell that Florence and the Machine has been directly influenced by Kate Bush just on this album alone.
I think I know a whole 2 Florence and the Machine songs, so I'm going to take your word on that. But that does mean I know who they are, which is pretty impressive for me.
That is impressive.
They were in a movie. This one, to me, there were certain songs. Let me pull up the track list right now. They just felt very... It felt like it was going for a bit of a fairy tale vibe, if that makes any sense. It's more kind of flights of fancy, and it didn't resonate with me as much this time. But I still love her voice, and I just like the lyrics. But it was Under Ice kind of threw me off a little bit.
Okay, so this album is actually kind of cool because it's envisioned to be 2 separate albums on one.
I saw the listing.
Yeah. Hounds of Love is the first half of the album, which starts with Running Up That Hill and ends with Cloud Busting, and then the 9th Wave is more of a concept album, and that's the second half, which starts with And Dream of Sheep.
And I think I definitely liked Hounds of Love more, the side one, if you will. Although I was still thrown off by The Big Sky. I don't know why I didn't connect with this one as much, because I liked her in the past, if I recall. I can't remember the name of the album we covered.
Sensual World. I had to look it up too.
That's it. But yeah, how would you describe Kate Bush's style for those who haven't heard her, besides our clips?
It's very artsy, but not in necessarily a weird way. I think I'm going to stick with Florence and the Machine because they are more well known. If you really like the musicality of Florence and you really like kind of the big theatrics of their songs, I think you'll really enjoy Kate Bush as well. There's some theatrical aspects to it, especially with the second half of this album. There's different instruments that you're not necessarily going to have all the time. There's some different lyrics that you're going to get, and it's kind of just I don't want to say depressed, but kind of a down feel about this album, I felt.
I agree with that. It has it's a melancholy vibe to the whole thing. I just I kind of want to give it a second shot because I respect her, but I just this one didn't work for me as much.
I really enjoyed it. I listened to it a lot today, just over and over and over. But I do think that the anchor of Running Up That Hill kind of helped me get through it, because it's like, okay, I only have a couple not so great songs, and then I get to listen to Running Up That Hill again.
That's probably my favorite song of the 12, looking like. That one and Cloud Busting I enjoyed.
I liked the second half of the album only because it was so different and weird. It was really interesting, and it's one that I want to sit down and listen to without any other distractions. I think it would be really enjoyable.
All right, I think it's time for Henges. What would you give it?
I'm going to give this a 4. This is a really good album. I recommend it.
And I'm going to give it a 3 with a promise of a second look. Now it's time for the food segment. Sarah, were you able to talk to our homicidal AI to make us some food this week?
Nope. I feel like someday we will come to an understanding and we'll be able to get everything we need, but not today.
No. Today we hide.
Yeah.
But, Pedro.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Kind of, nervous. I mean, it's
Why?
I mean, it's a ship built by my buddy, and it's AI trying to kill us that you also built.
Yeah, but you anchored it.
Yeah, I feel this.
You were kind of a jerk.
I
feel like the rest of us were just way nicer to Marion.
Remember how in Avengers: Age of Ultron, where no one blamed Tony Stark for creating Ultron after the first act?
Yeah, remember how that didn't make any sense?
That's happening now.
No, but
No, I created a very nice thing that would take what you fed it, and you fed it crap.
yeah, come on.
Jesus fuck.
This is definitely Austin's fault.
All right,
Yep.
no more of these catching up on how we're doing between segments. We're just gonna go right into the nitty gritty. What are we listening to this week?
Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks.
Good.
Just like the wide-winged dove sings the song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Just like the wide-winged dove sings the song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh. Say
It is good. It's a good song by Stevie Nicks. Came out in 1982. February.
And that's all you need to know about it.
Yeah! From her first album, blah blah blah, did pretty well. Yep.
Did you just blah 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 over Stevie Nicks' album?
Well,
He mentioned the bisque.
No, it's just... It's a
Integral
great song
member
that is on her
of-
debut album, and it's really good.
Debut solo album.
Debut solo album. Actually, I guess that's true. Was she in other acts before?
She was in Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah,
She was in what?
she's the lead singer of
Fleetwood
Fleetwood Mac.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard any music of theirs, but...
Oh,
Yes, you
Jesus.
have.
Okay, then yes, I have.
See, we're stuck in this pod, so Pedro couldn't print out Wikipedia this time.
Although I could have if I wanted to. There's a printer right there.
Well, what?
Do you not notice us bringing paper sometimes?
I love how non-Fleetwood Mac this song is. I like it. I feel like it's really cool. I like this song a lot.
I would
Every time
argue-
it comes on the radio, I'm really happy.
I
This
would
is not like Fleetwood Mac.
I don't know. What do you think, Lee? I think it's definitely one of those. I think it's like a perfect like solo song. Like I'm breaking away. I still got some of that sound, but you know.
No, I definitely agree with that. It's reminiscent in the best ways of Fleetwood Mac, but is still wholly original.
Right.
And I love it. I love this song so much.
I would argue this is one of the best songs we've covered so far. I think this song's incredible.
It's so good. I mean,
It is really good.
although it's funny, as soon as I started playing it, I didn't recognize the name of the song. I would turn it on, and it's just got such an iconic opening.
Yeah.
And like as soon as the lyrics kick in, you're like, oh, it's the ooh 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 song. It's that one. It's awesome. I love this song.
It's great. It's awesome. It's creative as hell. It's badass. It is like it's undeniably, I think, feminine.
I agree.
It's just awesome. It's a really awesome song.
I remember
wish
when
I hadn't read about it. 'Cause it's also really sad now.
Oh, really?
What it's about, basically she wrote it. The dove symbolizes the soul leaving the body. She wrote it in a hard time when John Lennon and her uncle both died in the same week.
Who? That sucks.
Was she a friend of John Lennon, or just a musical inspiration?
Something like that. Actually, I think her producer was good friends with him, and she couldn't do anything to help him out. And also, I'm sure she was sad as a musician that John
Sure.
Lennon died as a career musician. So we actually listen to the song like that.
But like, it's because but it has that anchor to it, right?
It does. It
I mean,
does.
I
And
think
it does
it's
seem very personal. Only she could do it because it's only something that she felt, experienced,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
God, I love this song.
It is.
It's
great.
so good. I mean, I almost don't have a lot to say about it. It's just so.
Well,
It's great. Yeah.
Lee, you're some of our one of our two music experts.
She's the music expert.
Us being nice. What makes this song stand out to you?
I think it has a lot of raw power. It has a catchy as hell opening few measures. I don't know. I really don't know. It's one of those just magical songs that's just good. I've heard this song on the radio probably 4 times in the past week, and every single time I don't change the station
You
because
turn
I
it
just
up.
I love this song so much.
Do we know if the Lemony Snicket book, The Wide Window, is from this song?
It's not. That's not the lyric, honey.
Is it not The Wide Window?
No, it's the white-winged dove.
Just like
The
the
white-winged
winged
dove. Holy
the
shit.
spirit coming out of the body that
I've been getting that wrong for a long time. I thought it's like The Wide Window.
Saying
Sing the song I'm
just
singing.
like the white winged dove sings a song. Sounds
Just like she's
singing.
singing.
Woo,
Woo, baby, woo,
Wow.
baby, woo.
I took it as The Wide
This is what it
Window.
looks like she's
Like the
dying
music
over
of the... Wow, you know what? It's always fun when I just should leave comments in my head about thoughts. I would have just looked at the lyrics one day, probably years from now, and realized I was wrong, quietly,
Nope.
at home. Not on a podcast.
Public embarrassment.
In a spaceship.
It did take me a while to figure out that that's what that meant. Like, that's what they were saying.
Well, let me rephrase my question. Do you think Lemony Snicket also got the song wrong? It's about that.
No.
Could be.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Wikipedia did flat out say that this is one of the most misheard songs.
Oh, really?
Like, lyrically. Like,
That's
the
funny.
White Winged Dove part is like one of the most gotten wrong bits people hear.
So
I actually never got this one wrong, and I am like the queen of getting songs wrong like that.
I definitely did. I don't know what I thought it was before, but
So this doesn't fully make sense canon-wise, but I have another podcast called Let's Take 5.
Sure.
And Eric Martindale and I, we reviewed recently 5 Richard Linklater films, one of which was School of Rock, which is... No one dislikes that film.
It's a great film.
Nobody dislikes School of Rock. No one's just a favorite film, but no one dislikes it. And there's a great scene in the movie with this song because Joan Cusack's character, I mean, she's the principal who is, not even the villain because she's completely right. But she's the foil that Jack Black, the con man, has to deceive. And they finally find some music to bond over, and she adores Stevie Nicks. So she has like her only beer in the movie and just keeps singing in her chair to this song. And it's great because like she gets so into it, and Jack Black for the first time like sees her as like someone like interesting and not just like I need to stop you. And it's never romantic. They just bond over how great the song is.
Stevie Nicks is great.
School of Rock's great too.
That's true.
that's true too. I don't have any more. Anyone else?
I did deep dive at School of Rock. You think I have more?
All right. I don't know. 4.9 henges.
I was honest to God also going to say 4.9.
4.7.
4.75.
I will be very shocked to see if it's not our number one song now.
No, I don't think so.
That's right. Okay.
Maybe have some others.
Because of the high ones, Purple Haze did well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because Dan, that sounds great.
Oh, it's a perfect song.
Anywho, now
That's
it's
why I
time.
said 4.7, because the song is not as good as Purple Haze.
Speaking of songs that get stuck in your head, now it's time for the children's book.
Chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you.
More like shitty bang bang,
Okay,
am I right?
You haven't seen the movie,
You already made that joke.
and you haven't read the book or seen the movie.
I'm fine with that.
Wait, you're talking about me?
You
or-
haven't seen the movie?
I haven't seen the movie.
You've neither of you seen the movie?
No.
The movie's so
You just
great.
were quoting it.
I know, because I saw that trailer 1,000 times as a kid.
Oh, right, with the
Watching a
VHS.
couple of the big
Yeah.
ones. Yep.
The book is The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss.
God damn it.
And it is catchy as fuck.
Yeah. No, it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang by James Bond, Ian Fleming, who also wrote James Bond.
It kind of was a James Bond.
A little bit.
Sort of. According to that BBC America miniseries I saw. You watched that?
I think I may have.
I told you to.
Okay.
So you didn't do
Which one?
it. Fleming, the man who became Bond.
Oh, sure.
It's on Netflix now. It has,
I did watch it.
has Dominic Cooper, who was Tony Stark's dad. Now he's a preacher.
Sure.
He's Ian Fleming. Turns out his life's just Bond.
Mhm.
Like, almost exactly.
Yep.
Well, somewhere in there, he wrote a children's book, specifically in 1964, about an inventor who finds a shitty little car, and he fixes
A
it
shitty
up.
little bang bang? Sorry. Oh, it's great every time.
No, it's not.
He finds a crappy little car and fixes it up, and it turns out to have magical powers. And so the gentleman Caractacus Potts is his name.
Hey. I'm going to bash this book for a while. Great name.
Yeah,
It's a great name.
yeah. He takes his family on a little road trip, and they get into some different kinds of adventures, and
Mostly involving arms deals.
yeah, a lot of arms deals and dynamite
What?
and
Not kidding.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other.
So let's begin here, because like, this is your first time reading the book.
It is.
Have you seen the movie?
I remember nothing about it.
I saw it a lot as a kid, but I didn't recent iteration of being a kid. But I never loved it as a kid. I just liked it basically because it was the B-string Mary Poppins. You had Dick Van Dyke being Dick Van
That's true.
Dyke, and you had similar kind of songs, so they weren't as good, but way more catchy. So you had Toot Sweet stuck in your head for 10 years.
And Roald Dahl wrote it.
Yeah, which also
Oh,
gets.
I didn't know that.
But so the movie is very different plot. I mean, you have elements of the same, which is he invents the same kind of whistling candy. He has 2 kids. He's a crazy little inventor who makes stuff. To me, both stories don't know what to do after he makes a cool car. Because the movie decides we're going to go to fictional Eastern Europe, and there's going to be a weirdo throwing kids into a van, making a Temple of Doom-like cave, and we have to pretend to be toys to appease some king and queen. And this one says we're going to do Dick Tracy. And it always still feels off to me, because, like, I don't know if this book is actually, like, a story, or just, like, every chapter is one fun idea he had. Like, what do you think? I feel you give me a look that you like the book and I'm shitting on it.
Well, I did like the book.
Okay.
So to answer that, it was originally written as like a 3-part series of books.
Oh, thank God! Because there's one.
It's like in 3 volumes.
Do you know what? There's a one part in the middle when I forget a chapter.
The characters.
Well, yeah, and they like reintroduce the license plate. Like,
Yeah.
hey listeners, hey readers, did you notice that it's spelled this way? Do you see the connection? Yeah, you devoted 3 pages to it in chapter 5.
Yeah, it's essentially like a previously on Chitty Bang Bang.
I thought it was just in my mind. Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I didn't look it up, and that is a thing.
Yeah,
Cool.
It is.
Edit out for the book, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I kind of see this as a couple episodes ago we read a book called The Magical Wishing Chair or something.
Yeah,
The Adventures of the Magical.
I thought of that book too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same kind of structure to it. Is that this family finds a magical thing and takes them on adventures. This is like one story. This could fit in one story of the wishing chair. But I think this does, not perfectly, but a little better with letting you get to know the characters a little more and giving you a little more sympathy towards them. Not a lot. There's a lot of room for improvement.
Yes, yeah.
But the car has a personality.
The most.
Yeah, the most personality. Unlike the wishing chair, which is just like, let's go here. The car has objectives and...
Which, mythology-wise, and I can speak on this because all lives are perfect, it didn't make a lot of sense. Because sometimes the dashboard point-blank said things like, hey, idiot, pull this lever. Mm-hmm. But it also just invented within itself, like, wings. Why did he need to pull the lever? Why can it, like, talk sometimes and not other times?
That's fair.
I had questions.
Yeah.
Mostly, like, I wish it wasn't there because, like, in the movie, which I'm not a big fan of, you know, it also made the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang sound and definitely had, like, a quiet, like, not love bug personality, but quieter one. So I'm okay with a living car. Mm-hmm. This one just felt plot necessity sometimes, and but I like the dad a lot. The dad was really fun, but I could not tell the kids apart except for the gender.
Right. Well, they're twins.
Doesn't help.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's why you can't tell them apart. It's because they're twins. Do you get it?
I do. Please, can we go on?
Yeah, I agree with you. There was some... there was one instance where they were kind of cornered by the mob, the gangsters, and that was a point where I was like, oh my gosh, these... Ian Fleming really set these people up as being, like, cutthroat evildoers.
Was it the chapter called Mortal Danger?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was when they were coming down the road in their black car, and they cornered them, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? And this is probably just me being stupid, but they ended up just flying away in the car. And I was like, oh, right. Of course they did.
I was never intimidated by the villains, but I was enjoying their point of view, because, like, when you had the main mobster guy do a not very good monologue to them, it ends with, you know, I'm just going to blow up your car with you guys in it. Is that cool?
Yeah.
like you got this originally in mind of my dynamite, so I'm just going to blow you up in your car that you seem to like.
Yeah.
And I admired that it wasn't just like, I'm going to, you know, put you in timeout and take away your candy.
Right.
This was a bizarre mobster doing an arms deal in a children's book that's done by the guy who made James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
And for years, I always thought it was weird, like the weird trivia that Ian Fleming wrote this book. But now that I've read the book, I go, oh, no, this makes perfect sense. This is just Q Division. Mm-hmm. All those weird gadgets he had Bond have, he just took out the plot part and just made those.
This book came out the year Goldfinger came out.
No way.
Okay.
Right? This was 64?
64.
Yeah.
So he was several books in at that point to Bond.
I believe 9.
9 at that point?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, that's fast.
Yeah.
Goldfinger on the list.
He wrote Dr. No in 58. Didn't come out till 61.
Well, he died in 64.
By the way, if you
Really?
I think so.
if you only lived your life consuming entertainment via crosswords, you would assume Dr. No is the most popular Bond film ever made.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
At all. It's for the record.
Yep.
Yeah, he died in August 1964.
So this is the only Chitty Chitty Bang Bang book, and actually within recent years, in the past 10 years, they've brought it back. Written by, I think we did his middle name wrong, but Francis Collor Bryce, who, as we all know, wrote 2 episodes of Doctor Who in seasons 9 and season 10. And I'm really curious to see those, because I think, like, there's so many pieces here that would work. I just think I felt Ian Fleming was writing down a bit during this. I hope I'm not like being biased because like I know and I've read his adult books, but it felt too pandering at times.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned this before he's definitely, it feels like he's talking down in this book.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I've said more negative things. It's into some positive stuff.
Well, I just think it's a good adventure, and it's a lot of things that we've said about other books it doesn't do, but a lot of things that we've said negatively it does do. Like, honestly, the kids can't tell him apart. His wife is almost not there.
I kept forgetting she was a character.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Right. But she's there. But it's a good adventure, and it's a quick read, and
it did fly by.
Yeah.
It's fun, and every chapter has like one idea. Like the car is going to be a boat now. The car is going to be this now. We're going to use this in this way. So everything has a good nugget to read. Like if you're reading this nightly to a child, chapter, you wouldn't be like, oh, that was the boring one this time.
Yeah,
they're all about even.
Yeah,
just a story I didn't love. Oh, and the cliffhanger's ridiculous because they never finished it. Like, oh, this kind of
Oh no, I thought
you
that
liked
was
it.
kinda cute. Yeah.
I did. Well, see, I read this as an ebook, so I thought I was going to keep going for a while.
No.
I was like, oh, we're just ending now.
Yeah, that's it. The other thing I really like that I think is really nice about it is that it rewards ingenuity, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think that's an admirable trait.
It's true.
That said, I'm going to give it 3.4.
I'm going 2.5. I started the episode thinking 3, and I kept thinking about it throughout the episode. I'm like, no, it's... I was looking forward to this one, too. I really was.
Yeah.
So I'm...
I'd say it was almost Shitty Shitty Bang Bang.
You know, again, I don't like the movie very much, but at least the movie knew that it had Dick Van Dyke in it. So you had a ridiculous 30 minutes before he even made the car where he can do an awesome bamboo dance. The movie knew its strengths, and I admire that. Anywho, now it's time for the TV show segment. The TV show this week is the UK's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is a very, very popular game show that's been adapted in many different countries. It ran for 30 seasons in the UK for about 550 episodes, all hosted by the same man. And, you know, I had never seen the UK version. I had only seen the US version that was on ABC, made most popular by Regis Philbin. So I was curious to see what kind of, like, elements were in the original version. And the answer is the exact same thing.
Yep. Same show.
It is camera moves.
Is the other show on the list as well?
No.
Okay, good. That would be weird.
No, whenever they do a game show, they just do, like, usually the original countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in fact, when Big Brother's on this list, it's, like, Holland.
Oh,
Oh, weird.
cool.
So, well,
But cool.
you all say that because you're not going to watch it.
Nope.
Holland tends to make weird shit, so...
Let's say it's findable. But it's the reason why this show has endured so long is because it's brilliantly simple. You are asked 15 trivia questions in a row. Every question gets harder. Every question you get more money. Twice, if you get past a certain point, you get saved that money no matter what. You can answer the multiple choice question, or you can use one of your 3 lifelines, which is ask an audience 50-50 or phone a friend. Later on, they added a new lifeline
Really?
called Switch, where you could swap out that question for one of the same value.
Oh, cool.
Like another one of their $2,000 questions.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was hosted for 30 seasons by Chris Tarrant, but it's British seasons, so season
it's
1
like-
is 11 episodes long.
Right. And it aired, I assume the seasons were like multiple times a year.
Yes.
Because they didn't air
not
for
30
30
years.
Yeah,
years.
their longest seasons were like 40, 50 episodes, and this was still like Monday through Friday for a couple months.
Right.
You know. Yeah, and it works so well because it's just a pure trivia game, and it's fun. I'm not in love with this host. I admit I only saw seasons kind of 1 and 2 of this show, so I mean I wouldn't want to judge Alex Trebek in season 1 of Jeopardy, but I am for Chris Tarrant. He's fine. I mean, he's just a very nice British host. You can tell when it's a British game show because when you have these strangers go on TV, they are very nice. They don't hoot and holler. When they lose, they look sad by looking at the ground. That's it. No one's cursing at the screen. And it's just pleasant. The only really moment of television I would recommend from the 20 on episodes I watched was, again, such a British show. I thought they lied, but I guess they do tape it daily. So when they hit the half-hour mark and they say, okay, we have to come back next episode where we're going to bring back Bill, Bill's wife went into labor before the next episode.
Oh.
So they said, we're gonna go through this quickly.
That's really funny.
We have a car standing by for once you finish playing, and here's a message over the phone from your wife. So like he was in the hot seat, ready to clearly make money for his child
Or lose.
and run away. I forgot how much he got, but he got past the $32,000 mark.
Oh, nice.
So like it. I would say it was worth it to stay, but he didn't feel like a dick dad
That's one
for staying. That's what-
Perfect.
It's UK.
Oh. That's his entire kid's fair.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about the show because it works. It's so not complicated, and I know they switched things up a little bit. Like I believe they changed it to kind of a 12 question system instead of 15. They changed the way they did the fastest finger between seasons 1 and 2, where you have to like put things in order instead of just doing one answer. But really, the format works. I mean, it's the same music, it's the same angles, it's the same.
Yeah,
you
it's
put the
exactly what I'm
cash in front of the 2 seats. You have the computer readout, and it's fun. And that is why, coming up on the Immortals, we are going to have a non-canon episode, which is weird to say because all of our lives are canon. I don't know why I would say
Yeah,
otherwise.
obviously.
That will come out sometime between episode now and 88 of we're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire
Woo-woo!
in a way that will not get us sued. So keep us subscribed.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
And
I think we should call it "Who Wants to Be a Thousandaire,"
I was
and only have people win $9,999.
yeah, because I didn't already write this stuff out.
Damn
right?
it!
So stay tuned for that on your feed. But until then, I mean, you guys didn't watch the show, did you?
I watched like a couple episodes.
Did you watch a couple?
Yeah, I did. And I mean, look, it's just the same fucking show.
There's a lot on YouTube. If you watch
Yeah.
the Game Show Program
It's the same
background,
fucking show. Like, if you liked Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin, you will probably like this show, except that if you're American, you will be worse at it because
oh my god, I couldn't get some of the Twitter questions. I felt
Well,
really dumb.
And I actually kind of like watching British game shows for that reason because, like, you suddenly realize that, like, American culture is a thing, right? Like, that, like, there's like these questions that are clearly like $100 questions for them that you're like, I don't fucking know. Like literally there's one that was like, what's the queen's husband's name? And I was like, I kind of know this, but I don't like know this. And this is like $100 question.
There was a question of what do Americans call blank?
Yeah, I like that.
I'm like, nice.
Yeah, I can get this one. But yeah, so I mean, I don't remember.
Well, I was accidentally brilliant at their fastest finger. We have to put the 4 choices in the right order because there were questions that were hard to them, like U.S. states west to east.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. Also, Oscar winners, earliest to oldest. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm so good at this.
Interesting.
But I enjoyed it. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know. Like, if I had been watching this show, I watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire like a lot of nights when it was on in America. I enjoyed it, but like, I don't know that I need it in my life anymore. Like, you know, like I've moved on to whatever the next trivia game show is. It doesn't quite have the staying power of something like Jeopardy. You know, like it isn't quite like.
It doesn't challenge in the same way.
Yeah. So it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I give it 4 hinges.
3.5.
All right, that is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Like I said, there are right now like seasons worth of episodes on YouTube. Just Google it or figure out some way to pay for it because I couldn't. Because it's a game show. No one puts them on DVD. But anywho, that's episode 87.
Cool.
I think we did all right.
We did okay?
I mean, I know we've been in cramped quarters. We don't feel the ships are home. Marion keeps blasting the last half hour of Ex Machina on all the TVs, which is very disconcerting. But yeah, I think we're okay. I don't want to like open the door and like ask for a number. So Adam, Pedro, you guys did so brilliantly before the way you just so organically came up with this number through just pure charisma. Let's see if you do it again.
How do you want to do it?
I like prime numbers, so I want there to be at least 2.
2 prime numbers.
Not the first one. How about the second and the third one? 3 and 5. I like 3 and 5.
3 and 5?
Yeah.
Well, let's split the difference. Do 4, 3, 5.
I love
Whoa,
averages.
that was
4, 3,
good.
5, 4, 3, 5.
That was good.
Boom.
All right. That almost seemed organic.
Let's see.
All right, now let's see what the 435th entry of all these things are.
The food is smoked snoke, which I imagine is not the character from the most recent Star Wars movie. But yeah.
Is his name
never know.
is he actually Snoke? Also, it's not the most recent Star Wars movie.
It's the most recent good Star Wars movie.
That's true.
Controversy.
Oh.
It's Snoke or Snoek. Probably a fish.
Yeah, I think it's a fish. It's smoked.
Yeah.
Spaug.
Yeah, we'll call it Smaug.
Spaug.
Sure.
The movie is... It's been a while since it's happened. I have not seen this movie. This is vinyl because guess who also made films? Andy Warhol.
Weird.
Oh, fuck.
Guess who...
We're going to continue the weird because the album is by the Talking Heads. We're going to be listening to Fear of Music by the Talking Heads.
Well, it might get weirder because the TV show is Twin Peaks.
Yeah!
Yes.
Which, for the first time ever, we're covering a show that's literally on the air right now.
Right this second, yeah.
So we will be covering that up to that Sunday's episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just
You got a lot to do.
heads up.
I'm
Yeah.
excited. The
Exciting.
song is another killer. Famous, everything. Hotel California. By
Also,
Beatles.
a weird thing.
Also weird, yeah.
Say it's weird.
It's a weird song.
And the children's book is The Adventures of Gian Baraska by Vamba.
I love when you hear the title and go, we're definitely not able to get that one.
Yeah.
All right, so come back next Thursday where you can hear the episode 88. Where we're going to be covering all of those super weird things. Make for an entertaining episode, I imagine. Also, check out theartofmortal.com where you can leave a comment on this episode. Let us know what you think of all these things. Papillion, Chitty Bang Bang, Kate Bush, this stuff. Also, while you're there, you can check out Let's Take 5, the aforementioned other podcast I do, where we're right now in the middle of our Robert Altman 5. And tomorrow we are covering the brilliant film Nashville, which I'm very excited to talk about. And there's another podcast on the website. It's called Ad Absurdum.
And someday I will edit it and release it, and it will probably be soon, I'm sorry.
Yes.
What's it about?
Westworld.
I'm
It's cool.
excited.
Yeah, I know. I am too. It's really good. I've already recorded it. I'm a lawyer for children. Sometimes I get busy. Sorry.
Is that what you're doing on the spaceship?
Yeah.
When we're like charting stars and such, you're
Remotely,
like,
And working.
yeah.
You're like
Remotely.
giving-
We work remotely.
Like
you all still
You're,
do.
you're
Yeah.
the only one that
Yeah.
does this.
Yeah.
That's why I
I
just
Skype into court, give legal
I said,
advice to
oh,
kids.
robot.
I watched
So that-
the same goddamn show all week.
Honey, I mean,
I don't work, Austin. I'm old money.
Oh boy.
Damn. What's that like?
I don't know any
Still
other-
couldn't hear this 4-minute song. All right. Anyway, thank you all for listening. And like I said, not kidding. In a few days, check out the Immortals version, which will be a Millionaire. It'll be a lot of fun.
yeah.
And yeah, all that stuff. You know it. Oh, you want to plug your thing?
What thing?
You have a website.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. If you need songs, I can make them.
Like he did this song, and every time we do a new 5 on the Let's Take 5, he's making a new version, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And also, I'm worried our next perk is going to be foreign, so we're going to realize how tough it's going to be soon.
For it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'll be hard.
Oh, yeah.
But I can do it, and I can do it for you, too. Just go to songsbyalord.com.
Hell yeah.
Do.
Ow.
You else want to plug some shit?
Nah.
Nah.
All right, Scotty. All right, I'm Austin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lee.
I'm Pedro.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, go!